I was delighted to meet Jim and to learn that I could work with him. I think it helped move me forward from a place of I'm just telling my story to now I'm going to understand how to be an activist and bring about some real change.
Among the newspapers I read is The Guardian. So I saw this story about Medicare Advantage, and then I'm stunned to find an example from the University of Connecticut because I know that that person has the same insurance that I have. Wow, we have to get in contact. Gloria and I have the same Medicare Advantage plan. She has it by virtue of being a dependent of her husband, and I have it from having been an employee. I spent 29 years working for Eastern Connecticut State University. I then retired to Portland, Oregon.
Before the team at the rehab facility could even evaluate my father, and somebody called my family and said that my dad was going to be discharged in 2 weeks. We received 3 denial notices, and my dad came home after his discharge by ambulance. The next morning, very early, he didn't know who he was or who we were or where he was, and he was admitted to the hospital with bacterial meningitis.
Never in my wildest dreams did I think that anything Gary needed would be denied. And I can't imagine what you went through, Jim, when the issue was, I have coverage, but I can't find anybody who will take it.
It all started when I had to build some fence post holes in my backyard. After that, my shoulders began to ache. I went in for an x-ray and they said, well, there's nothing particularly wrong with your shoulder, but we discovered that you may have cancer in your lung. I had a sister living in Houston who had worked for one of the top cancer hospitals in the country. And she said, well, you have to come here to get a diagnostic workup and treatment plan. So I went to Houston. They had a treatment plan that started with chemotherapy for 3 sessions every 3 weeks and then surgery. And they said, well, you don't have to come back here every 3 weeks. You can just get that at your home hospital. And they gave me a recommendation of someone. So when I got home, I called the hospital to try to set up the chemotherapy. They said, what's your insurance? And I told them the Medicare Advantage plan. And they said, we don't take that. And I said, well, there must be some mistake. Everybody takes that. And I said, no mistake. We don't take that. That was the first time I had been turned down. I would then be turned down 5 other times in other places where I live. So I ended up having to fly back and forth to Houston where I knew I could get chemotherapy. Well, if we rolled time back to 2017, and this happened, I wouldn't have had any of these problems because Medicare, would have been seen both in Houston and in Portland, without a hitch.
Well, I remember the first time I spoke with Jim, kind of expressing that I was grateful to be connected with him, and also that it was unfortunate the ways that we were being brought together through these very painful experiences.
The commonalities are the additional stress that comes with having to fight these battles at a time when you're doing everything you can to keep your head above water. Mm-hmm. And here comes something else.
All of that is something that nobody should have to go through.
It's something that feels so far-fetched, and it shouldn't be, but that when you need care, it's there for you. When you're sick, you can go to the doctor and you can get what you need, and there's not going to be any denials or prior authorizations. I'd like to see traditional Medicare expanded to add vision and dental and things like that. This desire to work together for something better, that's the heart of what's bringing us together.
We have to have enough faces on the other side of the table. There are enough of us that they know we're not going away, that they can't ignore us. We'll be back.
There's not much you can do when you're one, but if you're two, your possibilities exponentially expand.
It just seems like there's momentum building behind this issue.